When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode.
Welcome to the What's a Hero podcast. This is actually episode number 1. This is my first specific podcast that I'm going to be posting on, but I'm your host, Ken Frownfelter, as you heard in the intro. I have a very special guest today who's actually helping me out with my first podcast, who's kind of a podcast veteran himself, Mr. Mark Ledlow. And it's kind of funny, Mark and I have quite a history of sorts. So how you doing, Mark?
Great. Thanks for having me on. And a veteran? I've been doing this, 5 months?
More than me. It's great.
Yeah, thanks for the compliment. It's been a fun ride, a fun journey. I learned a lot in this little journey. I think I started recording September, and YouTube finally approved me. They thought I was a fictitious criminal person.
Yeah.
So it took 2 months for my YouTube account to be opened up and cleared.
Oh, well, they got to do a background check on you.
I guess. Yeah, they must do something back there.
So anyways, like I said, with the What's a Hero podcast, we are... I'm introducing you to people that you didn't realize were heroes in your life. You might see these people walking around. You might see these people just going to the store, being normal people, and not understanding or not realizing that these people are willing to do just about anything for you. Mark is one of those guys. Mark and I met each other, we're going on 26 years ago, I believe, and we kind of it's kind of a weird thing how we met each other. Do you want to tell a story, or do you want me to tell the story how we met? Well, I'll tell you right now, we're in Oregon, and right now, we did not meet in Oregon.
That's exactly right. How do you know you existed until after boot camp?
Right. We both lived in Oregon. We both went to high school in Oregon. We did the same thing.
Yep.
And we met down in sunny Southern California. So Mark and I, we both joined the United States Marine Corps at the same time. We didn't join together. We didn't know each other beforehand. He goes into MEPS. We were actually MEPS the same day. Didn't even realize each other were there. I think we met each other first day. We were on the infamous Yellow Footprints.
That's about right.
MCRD.
You were the tiniest guy there.
I was the shortest guy, not tiniest.
Oh, the shortest. Sorry, shortest.
I'll go shortest. I wasn't tiny. There's that other guy.
Who was that other guy? The long nose. Who was that? He had a hook nose.
Oh, that poor guy.
He had a tough voice like this.
He was, yes, at the time we were so cruel and mean. That was recruit, private, Mr., whatever you want to call him, Long Crier.
Long Crier.
Long Crier. I mean, it was, hey, if you're listening to this, dude, we honestly, we're not a-holes. We're not jerks. It's just we were dumb kids, and that's all we remember. We have memories of being dumb kids. So,
wow.
If you are listening to this, dude, I'd love to talk with you, see where you're at with life right now, and know that your brother, because you went through the same crap we went through, and you did it. So, and that goes for everybody that was there. But
right.
This is 1994, and it was September 1994. We joined the United States Marine Corps. We were in boot camp together. And after boot camp, to be honest with you, I don't think we saw each other. We had anything to do with each other until easily 2010, 2009, something like that.
Later on.
It was about 2000. Yeah, 2010, 2009 that we saw each other. And what happened, and I'll tell this little story really quick, is that Mark comes in, because I was working at a little one-man, actually we had 4 officers on police department, and Mark comes in, and he was wanting to talk to me. He actually talked to anybody because he wanted to get his service record there, right?
Rogue River Police Department.
Because you were going to start working for...
Oh, yeah. Private sector security in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for my service record showing proof that I was in the reserves.
Right.
And I saw you saw me, go, Ledlow?
So we got to looking, and I remember your face. You looked at me like, how do I know you?
I know you.
I know you from something. And I'm like, I know you from something. And sure enough, years later, we see each other, we meet each other again, and we're like, wow, we were in boot camp together. So I mean, it's just small world. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know who you're going to who's listening to you. You never know who you're affecting in life either. So yeah, we were before we hit record today, we were talking about various stories about boot camp.
Oh yeah, and you have a ton of them because I don't remember many of them because I think I was just trying to get through it, survive, and I told myself in my mind, I'm like, either I'm going to die in a casket and go home, or I'm going to graduate. I made my mind up. There's no way I was quitting for nothing. I didn't care how many times I recycled through the hospital, break a leg, get punched out. Like we saw that one guy get punched out the night before.
Yeah,
he got decked.
Yeah,
was it Richie? Staff Sergeant Richie.
Oh my gosh, that guy!
Remember that night?
So Staff Sergeant Richie, this guy, and if you're listening to this, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but and the awesomeness that it would be if this made its way to you, but this was the toughest man I think I'd ever seen in my life. This guy, he had that grizzled look on his face. I mean, he had those. It looked like almost scarred, looked leathery,
Very leathery.
And I remember he was from Delaware. He was just the toughest guy I've ever seen, and at the end of boot camp, you do a thing called the gong show. You remember that?
The gong.
And so it was the whole. If anybody can
imitate one of the
drill instructors, then get up there and get in front of everybody and do it to their face.
Oh, that was
and
classic.
it was
hilarious.
Amnesty International.
Everybody was rolling, almost peeing their pants.
So I remember I had Staff Sergeant Richie down. I had Staff Sergeant Burroughs down. And Cornwell. I had Staff Sergeant Cornwell.
Burroughs did the Flintstone cadence.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And but I couldn't get our senior drill instructor, and to be honest with you, I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
He quit, didn't he?
No, he was. I think he was doing some kind of transitioning halfway through, and so he was still there, still our senior drill instructor. But then so we got another one just in case.
I remember he broke the guide arm over his knee.
He was an angry fella.
He got pissed off because we didn't qualify first or whatever it was.
Right.
He was so pissed. He got that pole and snapped it right across his knee.
I
remember that.
He was a very angry man. But I couldn't imitate him, and so I remember one kid could. And so he did it, but then he got in trouble because they said there's no imitating the senior drill instructor. And so they were like, what? Where was that rule? I don't remember hearing that rule. But I remember Staff Sergeant Richie, and he was, no! And he would just,
he had that finger thing with his hands and his voice.
Yeah, and he'd put his thumb and his finger together.
And
tell you right now. You're right. So you got this guy. But I remember we were waiting in line for a class one time.
Right.
I think it was, I don't remember what the class was. We're waiting in line for this class, and when we're waiting in line, we're in the lines of platoons, and I think we were going 2x2s. And there was a platoon next to us that was waiting also for this class. Their drill instructor had gone off and was doing something else. They were supposed to just be waiting there. And all of a sudden a fight breaks out in the neighboring platoon's ranks.
I remember that. Yep.
And they're waiting in there, and there was no other drill instructor around but Richie. That guy just goes over, and I don't know if you remember this part, but he walks over there, and he starts going, no, just doing this whole thing. Nobody's listening to a word he's saying. He starts picking dudes up by one arm and throwing these guys. This guy I think he was recon. I think he was, because I
remember the recon.
I have no doubt this guy's killed men before. And
no doubt. In his eyes, and we looked at you, it scared you.
He was, yeah. So he starts throwing these kids. And the fight stopped.
Right. And
those kids got reamed when their drill instructors got back, because our drill instructor had to go over and clean them up. And so there's an embarrassment factor. There's the whole thing that you don't do.
Was that the same fight during Chow Hall? They had a gang fight going. It was rival gangs in the boot camp.
Oh, I remember hearing about that. I don't think I saw it though.
Yeah, I think it was during Chow time where we were getting off of Chow, going back to somewhere, and two different platoons went at each other.
Really?
And it was a rival gang fight.
Because these two dudes used to be gangbangers.
Yep.
From rival gangs back in the day, and they saw each other or something like that.
And they just went ape.
They joined in the military.
They lost it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I remember all these MPs flying from out of the wall, the air, parachuting down with Force Recon and breaking these guys. It was bad. They had vans coming to pick these guys up and haul them over to Fort Leavenworth, I think. It was bad.
Well, no, then it wasn't in, I remember hearing about it, but it wasn't in, it must have been at a duty station. It wasn't in boot camp. because I didn't see it or have any part of that. But I'd heard about it. It's not something you don't hear about. I
remember the fight though. I remember seeing people swinging and drill instructor trying to. I think I saw Richie bricking those guys up. The bodies going flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But I remember him knocking out that one tall guy that was 6'5". He was like professing Satan worshiper or whatever.
Really?
He was all mouthy all the time. And he goes, oh, you're out of POA. And he took off his Smokey the Bear hat or his drill instructor cover.
Campaign cover, right.
He hops on the guy's footlocker and he jumps in the air. And I just saw his forward fist going flying in the air and knock the guy out. He fell flat on his back. Do you remember that? I was like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, that guy had to be easily one of the toughest men I've ever met in my life. I have no doubt about it. So then there was Staff Sergeant Burroughs. He couldn't be more than 5'8", 5'9", skinny guy from down south. And Alabama, I think he said he was from.
South. He had that southern accent.
Yeah. But his thing was he would stand there and he kind of a little pigeon-toed, but he would put his fingers and his thumb together. And he'd sit there and I tell you right now, boy, you done pissed me off. And he would be so subtle and me, you better get over there right now before I break your face. You better get in on there. And he wasn't much of a yeller. No. But he'd get real close to you and do the whole whispery thing, and I'm going to kill you. And and so, I mean, people moved, but he was near the end, obviously they got to be mean. But by the end, he was probably favorite drill instructor between he and Richie for me. So
yeah, Richie was the meanest guy there. But I remember this right after boot camp, we were released, and we did about face and we're free. He was the first guy that come up to me and shook my hand and said, Mark Ledlow, I knew you could do it.
Wow.
I was like, put her there, Marine. I'm like,
wow,
this guy's nice.
Yeah.
He's not gonna rip my throat out.
Yeah. I never got a chance to go talk to him. I talked to Cornwell. And he was like, see, and it was just like, I told you. Yeah, I was just saying thank you. I know. I'm not. I thought I was a Marine now. I'm not better. So, but
wow.
No, there was there's times that you get. I remember one specifically. We're all lined up in barracks and we're on line. And they got to yelling at you for whatever reason, and they would pick guys,
right.
So everybody understands. They didn't. I'm finding Mark Ledlow and I'm going after him every time.
It's random.
It was just random.
Right.
If it was your day, it was your day.
It was your day. They're all over you like bees on honey.
Right. It's like that sign. It says, "Hey, I can't please everybody every day. Today is not your day. It doesn't look like tomorrow's gonna be that day either."
It's going south quick.
Well, we can't pick on everybody every day. Today's not your day.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow. And it could have been this 5 minutes. The next 5 minutes is somebody else, and they just picked somebody else. Well, I remember they picked you one time, and they were walking down the line, and they yelled at you, did something, and they kept going, and I guess you rolled your eyes or you did something. Whatever, freaking guys. And they stopped. Oh, you're going to roll your eyes at me? What do you think you're doing? And then all of a sudden, if one catches on, it's just like these other drill instructors from out of nowhere just come around, and they go right after you. So it's kind of funny that you got those stories.
What did I roll my eyes about? Because I was always laughing. It seemed like I always like holding the laughter back. I was like, yeah, we're just getting through the motions of boot camp here. But I was always pushing on the quarterdeck. I remember being on the quarterback half the time of boot camp, pushing or whatever I was doing.
Right.
Sweat.
Yeah, it was it was something. They told you something. I think they said something like, "Oh, you got a college degree. You think you're smart," because you were 23, 22 when you went in, right?
23, yeah.
Right, so you were older than the rest of us. We were 18, 19 kids.
I had an
year old
associate
kids.
degree.
Yeah, and so you had gone to college. You had a degree, all this different stuff. Like, oh, you think you're smarter than everybody because you got a freaking degree? You're nothing. You understand that? And they turn around, and that's when I think you rolled your eyes.
Like,
you could hear the brakes just go on their feet. They about face.
They hated me.
They get right in your business.
You need to be a honor guard. You need to be this. I mean, Burroughs like, Ledlow, you have so much potential. You go, why don't you just rise up? Like, Staff Sergeant, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guide. I don't want the abuse.
Right.
Screw that.
Yeah.
You try to get through here easy, aren't you? You don't want anybody to notice you. That's what you're doing, aren't you? Like, Yes, Staff Sergeant knows exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah,
He goes, you're too smart for your own good.
Yeah.
I like, yes, Staff Sergeant, I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I there was there was that one guy who was our guide.
Yeah.
Was it Coletti? No.
Coletti.
Was it Coletti?
Yep. Coletti,
Yeah.
the short guy.
Yeah, he wasn't overly tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a wrestler, wasn't he?
Yeah, from like Wyoming or something
Yeah,
like
he
that.
was a rugged cowboy.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I can start picking out names for you that I remember. I remember tons of names like Cable. I don't know if you remember Cable.
Cable.
He was cool. He and I got along really well. There's a guy. He's actually lives up north here from where we're at.
Okay.
Chris Hurst.
Hurst. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Hurst.
I've seen him on Facebook or whatever, but he's a top-notch guy. I mean, he's got a daughter. He's freaking dotes over. He loves her. I mean, great guy.
Wow.
Let me see. And then there's Ives.
Ives. Yep. I remember that name.
So remember this guy, right?
Yeah.
Remember, so the thing that they did in boot camp
Right.
was they say eyeballs,
Click.
clicks her, and ears
Open.
right? So you got this whole thing. So it was that mass group that replies every time, and so when they get in there, there was the guy his name was Ives.
Yeah.
So they would get up there and be like, Ives, and everyone's like, clicks her, and he's like, Ives, clicks her. He's like, shut up. Ives, clicks her. Shut up! Not that's what I'm talking about. What the kid? Where's the kid, Ives? No, and they're like, oh, he's saying Ives, not eyes. Oh, okay, makes sense now.
Shut up, recruit. Shut up. Lock your jaw.
Yeah,
Lock
that's
your
right.
jaw.
The funniest thing, though, I tell you, the funniest thing that happened was we were with our drill instructors had to go to a meeting or something. I don't remember what it was, and so we got some substitute drill instructor. We didn't know his name, or we had gone to another platoon and they had switched. Something happened where we had this other drill instructor that was kind of standing over us, and we're all sitting down
right
in the kind of the squad bay area, and and we're sitting there, and he's kind of going over something, and somebody just rips this fart, just right, and he stops in his track. He goes, "Who just said their name? Who just said that?" And so nobody's copping to it. He goes, "Who just said their name? I want to know." And so, oh man, I was dying laughing, but you couldn't laugh. You had to just bottle that up. And I was dying. He walks out of the room, and we were dying laughing. So, I mean, that happened a bunch because you can't laugh. We're not allowed to laugh. You're not allowed to. You're supposed to be all. So, what are you smiling about? You got something? You planning something? You scheming something? Whatever. So that wasn't the thing. So what we do is, there was one time that drill instructors were just making the jokes, and they were trying to get us to laugh so they can yell at us. And I remember Burroughs. He was funnier than crap.
He was hilarious.
He's up front. He's sitting there making fun of everybody. Maybe, there's that kid. Who was that kid that he had a scar on his head, so his head looked like he had a extra lump on his head, but it was like from when he was born or whatever. Right? And so he's sitting there making fun of him. He's doing all these different things. And we got that new drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Maldonado.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Remember him?
Yeah.
And he's standing in the back. I think he was brand new out of drill instructor school or whatever, and he's watching, and he just starts losing it. I mean, he is doing everything he can not to laugh, and you see him just slam into the duty hut and just close the door behind him, but he's holding his face, trying not to laugh. And so, but if we're not allowed to laugh, he's especially not allowed to laugh. So
wow, you got a good memory for all those stories.
Oh, I can keep going because there was one where we were well, they heard that I could mimic them pretty well.
Oh yeah, they did hear that. They wanted to see it act,
and they wanted to see it in action, right? So
see you do your thing.
So during free time, which we had about an hour every night, well, most nights, we had about an hour a night to do your go to the bathroom, shower, shave, and clip your nails, write your letters home, all that stuff like that. So then we were there, and then all of a sudden I hear somebody say, "Recruit Frownfelter." And so when you hear your name, what do? You pop up, "Yes, sir." And then they had somebody else say, "Call my name." So I had to go running up there. "Drill instructors want to see you." And so you walk in there, and you go into the duty hut, And so when you walk in the duty hut, you have their desk, and you go around this little corner, and you have their racks. So you have a bunk bed there, and then the bathroom right around the corner. And so they're sitting. They got 2 drill instructors sitting on the bottom bunk, and one standing in the doorway of the bathroom, and their arms are crossed, and there's just pile of junk food, candy bars, bags of chips, soda pop, all this different stuff sitting on the rack, and they're sitting there. So I hear you can mimic us pretty well.
You're busted.
And they, like I said, there's just candy everywhere, and I don't know what the deal was, whether they were trying to. No, drill instructor. No, sir. No, I want to hear it.
You're so screwed.
No, because it's just me and those 3, right? And
you're so screwed.
And I'm like, and I keep like looking down at the Snicker bar or whatever, and they're like, "You like candy? What are you looking at my candy? Why are you looking at my candy?" I think it's just to hey, I got candy. You can't have any of it because you couldn't have 3 months. Nothing. And so when we got M&Ms in our MREs, you had to hand those in. Yeah.
I was smuggling candy into the boot camp, right?
Were you?
Yep.
Were you didn't you get packages from your mom or something like that with cookies and things like that?
Oh yeah.
And you had to share.
I had to share. They caught me. The first round they caught me. Second round, I had a girlfriend from Grants Pass. She sent me ESPN magazines. I told her to tape the candy in between the pages. So when the drill instructors went through the pages of the ESPN magazine, it wouldn't flop out.
Right.
It worked.
Well, what kind of candy? Not like
M&Ms and cookies.
Oh, like stuff that can be flattened down. Okay.
Yeah, so she flattened it down and she taped it in between the pages with Scotch tape. So when they opened it, nothing came out. And they said, "Here you go, Ledlow." And then I waited till everybody go to bed. I had a feast. I just had a feast. And then all these recruits come, "Ledlow, I'm going to tell on you if you don't give me a piece."
Right, yeah.
So all these diet recruits were coming to my rack wanting dessert.
So what's a diet recruit for those that may not know?
A diet recruit is a sucky life. You cannot eat carbs. All you get is protein and a veggie. Did you
get touted as a diet recruit at one point?
Yeah, I was the whole time.
Yeah?
I went in weighing 230.
How much did you lose?
40 pounds.
Even with all the candy, huh?
All the candy, I came out at 187.
Wow.
45 pounds of weight lost.
Wow.
And then remember mess duty, I wanted sugar so bad. The cookie dough.
Uh-huh.
That was my saving grace.
Really?
They wanted to know. They found out my weight went up 15 pounds in 1 week.
Jeez.
So I was eating cookie dough from the mess hall when we had mess hall duty that week.
Oh, I remember. They're like, "What is going on?"
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're trying to figure out what was going on with my weight.
Yeah.
And then they put me on the quarterdeck, and they bent the crap out of me for a week. Because my weight went up, and I said, "You're eating cookie dough." "No, sir."
No, sir. Well, I really am, but no, yeah.
No. I denied it, and they kept on pushing me. But it was so good. It tasted so well.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different things that we could, we can go back and look at the different stories on, and we can sit there and say, hey, that was a great time. It was, as much as we say, I don't want to, gosh, I would never want to do that again. Or I hated it. Like you said, I hated it. I want to be out of it. I remember having dreams afterwards, long afterwards.
Really?
Having dreams of getting back in the military, getting back in the Marine Corps. But I was like, "Oh, I have to go back through boot camp?" "Yep, you got to go back through boot camp." I'm like, "No," because at that point I had littles, I had kiddos, and I was married and all this different stuff, and I didn't want to leave them for 3 months.
Right.
3 months when you got babies, that's a long time for their life, right? So I was like, so I had dreams of being back in boot camp and just being like, "Oh, I can't believe this," and then all of a sudden I'm graduating. "Oh, it's over already?" "Okay," but I just remember having those dreams and waking up and being like, I don't want to go back through it. I don't mind being back in the Marines or in the military or whatever, but I don't want to go through boot camp. It's just
Were you missing the challenge of boot camp after you 't out, or were you wanting to relive it and do things differently?
No, I think it's just I didn't want to. I didn't want to be away from my family in boot camp. Now, if I got deployed, Yeah, I would have had to. It doesn't. That is what it is. But after I was out, I didn't have that. It wasn't a reality. That was an option to be gone. Because I had never been gone from my children's life up to the point where I was having these dreams.
That makes sense.
It was just not wanting to be gone from my family for that period of time.
Sure.
I can't even call them. I can't text them. I can't do anything like that. But then again, I'm a young guy.
Right.
So
to this day, I can say I never had one dream while in boot camp.
Oh, really?
Not one. It was weird. Everybody else was freaking out. I wake up 3 a.m. Everybody's just having convulsions and shaking and sweating.
Yeah, I remember.
I checked out, and I just pretended I was with my girlfriend at the time, hanging out watching a movie, and then I was out, and the next thing you know, I wake up 10 minutes before reveille.
Yeah.
And
except for those nights that you had to do fire watch.
oh yeah, and then you wake up in the middle of the night.
Those were unawesome.
I never had any nightmares. Everybody else had nightmares.
Yeah, I remember guys waking up just screaming and hitting the bed and wetting the bed. There was guys that were doing that.
Oh, remember that? The guys wouldn't take a shower.
Yeah.
They had a pillow party on them or a blanket party on them.
Yeah. It's amazing. There's the people that you meet in there from all walks of life, all over the country.
Yeah.
And they have different hygiene theories. There's some people that are overly clean, some people that are underly clean. I guess they make up for each other.
Right.
There's people that just look at things a certain way. There's one guy. I remember we were cleaning the drains. Sorry about that. I bumped my mic. There was we were cleaning drains near the last week or whatever, and we got to the point where I want the drains clean, and we had coat hangers straightened out, and we're digging in there. Well, we were getting brown things out of there. It was just gross, and people are, oh, this is gross, oh, nasty. Until this one kid, and I'm sorry, this is kind of explicit. This one kid, he picks his nose and pulls out this giant booger. And that was the most disgusting thing. While we were doing that, I could handle cleaning out the drains and doing all that stuff. But that booger, and everybody's just over there gagging. They're doing this whole retching thing.
Retching. Losing their stomach over a booger. That's pretty weak stomachs for Marines.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, but
a lot of memories.